Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Film Podcast. I'm Ryan,
And I'm Tyler.
and we're moonwalking our way back onto the big screen.
The premier biopic of the year has graced our eyes and ears with Michael. Probably a biopic that I'm surprised has taken this long to happen. I don't know about you, but I mean, like, right after Michael Jackson died in 2009, I thought for sure that we were going to get a Michael biopic like within the next 3 years or so. But it's taken till 2026.
I think that the situations revolving around Michael Jackson's life, I think that letting it wait for a couple of years really sweetens the deal, and I think it gives it time to allow people to be more open-minded about what actually happened, what was going on. I will get right into it. I will, off the first hand, right, say that I have never in my life had any thought in my mind that any of the allegations were true or anything. So this was a great film to me that I loved. I'm curious to see your opinions on it.
Uh, okay, so with me, I mean, like, I guess to put this out, like, Michael Jackson was not found guilty of anything, and everything negative about him tends to be allegation based. However, I am mostly a person who tends to believe victims. I think that some of those stories have been traumatic and fairly consistent. And just knowing who Michael Jackson was, like he was always kind of an odd duck, right? I mean, frankly, one of my first experiences with Michael Jackson kind of being a weirdo was that South Park episode, right? Would it surprise me if all of the stuff about Michael Jackson that people have been saying being true? No. And I think something needs to be said about that. But ultimately, that doesn't matter because this film is very, very, very obviously trying not to delve into any of that. They very much focus on Michael Jackson's early life and pretty much up until the release of Bad in the early 90s. The movie pretty much ends like right there, to the point where people are now thinking that we may be getting a part two to this story.
Actually, update to the situation. Part 2 is actually already in development.
Okay. And I guess there's the problem. Like how is part 2 going to be anywhere near as compelling as part 1? Because I mean, you played literally the greatest hits. Like you threw all the good stuff in there way too early, you know? So like a second movie is just going to be like a pointless B-side. Like, I don't know. So, yeah, so Michael Jackson is played by his nephew. I forgot which.
Jafar Jackson. I believe it's Randy Jackson's son or Jermaine Jackson.
Yeah, Jermaine Jackson. I think my mom was mentioning this because my mom not a movie girl at all, but she seems to have like some like serious interest in seeing this movie. So she was filling me in. I think she said Jermaine, but I could be wrong. But either way, Michael's nephew is playing him. What did you think of that choice for casting?
So it's actually crazy because like from the commercials, I was like, I don't know if I buy it. I can kind of tell, but like watching the actual movie, there were a lot of times where I had to question like, oh, right, I'm not actually watching Michael Jackson. This is his nephew, and I'm watching a movie. The music, too, I actually am not sure if the music used was re-recorded using Jafar's voice or if it was Michael Jackson's voice.
That is something that I was going to look up before we started. So I'm going to do that right now while you are talking.
Yeah, so it was a very interesting choice for them to use a family member, and we've never, I mean, I don't, to my knowledge, we've never really done that before with the biopic. But I think it worked great. I think it was fantastic. I think everything about it, the casting choice with that was really good, including the casting choice on his father. I mean, that was like to the T for Joe Jackson. He looked almost identical.
Well, I mean, I think it also helps that Coleman Domingo is already a well-established actor in his own right at this point, and the fact that he did very much look like a young oh my God, what is his dad's name?
Joe Jackson.
Joe Jackson was very apparent, and frankly, I think, you know, I will say this. I think I agree with you where, that early trailer made me very concerned that I think casting Jafar Jackson was just going to be some sort of marketing stick by saying we're going to have a member of his family play him. But yeah, for the most part, I think, there are some moments and times where it looks a little weird and he acts a little off, but for the most part, I thought he did a good job playing his uncle.
Yeah.
And it says here he did sing during the movie. His vocals were used for live on set performances and specific a cappella studio scenes, but were often blended with Michael Jackson's original master recording. So it seems like it's a bit of it's a bit of both. So it's very clearly not like a Bohemian Rhapsody scenario where it's just Rami Malek lip syncing actual recordings of Freddie Mercury. But yeah. So I was slightly impressed by his portrayal as Michael, especially once like the movie gets going. Like when he's like younger Michael, like working off that very first album, I thought it was a little hit and miss. But once it gets to like Thriller, and especially towards the end of the movie when he's giving that last performance of the song Bad, I thought like he was really like really hitting his stride in that role. Yeah. So I mean, like, my problems with this movie are beyond Jafar Jackson's performance. And if you're looking to see someone like in company who Michael was like on stage, I think Jafar Jackson did a good job. Absolutely. Where I think this movie suffers, and suffers pretty severely, is that I don't think, and Michael is not the only biopic to do this, music biopic to do this. If you are going to be a memorable music biopic, you got to give me a reason to exist. You have to give me something new or provide some new insight into this person who has basically lived their whole life under the spotlight. And this movie didn't do that. This movie never rose above the level of being just a glorified Wikipedia article while playing a greatest hits album. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Michael Jackson. I like the songs, and it was fun seeing the performance of those songs. But, I didn't learn anything new about the character. I wanted some more insight, or at least some more artistic interpretation with the film's narrative. It's very much a birth to height point, because it's not really a birth to death biopic, right? A birth to height point. And it's also frustrating knowing that it's just a really basic run-of-the-mill biopic, that it's not really to challenge the viewers at all by going into some of Michael Jackson's more controversial parts of his legacy. So the movie's specific choice to just kind of highlight the good and avoid the bad, on top of just being something that doesn't offer any new insight into the character, it just makes it feel like a pretty wasted experience to me. Like the movie, and frankly, like, I'm probably going to be in the minority of a lot of people, because I think fans go into this and, they see the Michael Jackson that they know and love. They get to listen to the songs and dance around in the theater like the old ladies were at our screening. And they're probably going to come out with a pretty positive experience and wonder why all the critics are calling the movie terrible. But I mean, I don't know about you. I don't know whatever other music biopics you've seen, but I've seen enough music biopics to know when one is done correctly or when one is taking some risks and when one is just Bohemian Rhapsody. So
that's where we disagree. We'll get into that in a second. But I for the most part, I agree with you. I will tell you that my wife is a huge Michael Jackson fan, so I was really curious to see what she felt about the movie when she saw it, which she did get to see it a couple days after us.
Oh, cool.
So I agree with you that this film isn't really made for people like me who didn't know a lot about Michael Jackson's life. I knew his songs. I knew what kind of music he made. I knew, obviously, the whole everything that happened later on in his life. but I never really knew, like the Pepsi thing. I never knew about that. And I wish that it would have given more information about the events happening on film, but instead it's just kind of like, okay, this is Michael Jackson singing ABC. This is Michael Jackson singing Bad. This is Michael Jackson doing Billie Jean. And then it just kept going through the motion, but not really giving information about what was happening on the screen or like what was going on with his life exactly. Somebody like my wife, who already knows all that information, loved the movie because it's just like, okay, I know what's going on. Me, there were some times where I was like, I'm a little lost in what's happening. I wish I had more information. And I hope with the next film, it focuses more on giving information than it does just kind of having things happen.
You are more optimistic on that front than I am, my friend.
I'm hoping. I will tell you though, we disagree on Bohemian Rhapsody because I would put my biopics. I love music biopics. My wife loves music biopics. I would truly put like Walk the Line, Bohemian Rhapsody, Michael. I'm thinking, and if I know you can disagree, but like truthfully, like what are you gonna put in between there? Would you name some music biopics that you're gonna put in there?
Ray.
Okay, I haven't seen Ray.
The United States versus Billie Holiday.
Okay.
A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan one from a couple years ago. That one was pretty good.
No.
Even
the one that just came out, the whoa.
I mean, frankly, I want to come across this computer screen and slap the crap out of you for putting Walk the Line and Bohemian Rhapsody in the same sentence. Because
I love. What is your beef with Bohemian Rhapsody?
My beef with Bohemian Rhapsody is one, like Rami Malek only intended to look like Freddie Mercury. He didn't become Freddie Mercury. He didn't even try or attempt to do the songs. Like I think if you're going to do that, you need to become the character. You need to attempt to do the songs. Plus, my biggest problem with Bohemian Rhapsody, the biggest problem, is because the movie is made and produced with the remaining members of Queen, there is very clearly a angle that is trying to be produced where Freddie Mercury is this dramatic sexual deviant, and Queen was just the remaining members of Queen were victims of his deviancy and just trying to keep everything together. It very much paints the rest of the members of Queen as completely faultless in all of the issues that Queen ever dealt with, and paints Freddie Mercury as this awfully flawed figure, okay, which I don't think is true. Like,
so without getting too into it, because this is not the Queen, I had to stop myself. I'd love to argue about this with you, but I could argue back and say Bohemian Rhapsody isn't a Queen documentary. It's a Freddie Mercury biopic, and it focuses
which makes it even
Freddie
worse.
Mercury and the issues that he did. So I don't think I agreed with you the first time I watched the movie. After watching it a couple times, I disagree with that now. I don't think that it was just kind of Queen being like, oh, okay, we're the victims in the situation. Freddie Mercury was this rabid, sex deviant drug addict. I would give it a second chance and see what you think of it on a second viewing.
I mean, I like Queen. I don't love them enough to give that documentary another chance.
And see, yeah, me and my wife love Queen. So.
I think there's much better biopics out there. Love and Mercy, the biopic about Brian Wilson going through his mental health struggles after the disbanding of the Beach Boys. That's another really good one.
Song Blue. What a great biopic.
Song Sung Blue is very much in the mold of something like a Michael or something like
right up there with Walk the Line.
No, not even fucking close. Walk the Line is like primo biopic. Like, yeah, that movie is so great. Anyways, back to what are we talking about? Oh, yeah, Michael. It just goes to show how underwhelming this movie was. I think my problems with it come with the movie not willing to take any risks with Michael Jackson's legacy, it being an entertaining greatest hits album on screen, but I mean, I don't think. I actually disagree with Courtney. I actually think hardcore fans will be more critical of the movie because there just simply isn't anything new that hardcore fans already don't know. So, I mean, if that's why you want to go to a movie and you just want to be like, lectured at about us stuff you already know, then more power to you. Like, nothing wrong with Courtney enjoying that movie, but like I thought when you said that she wasn't as big of a fan, I thought for sure she was going to say that she wasn't as big of a fan of the movie. But yeah. I mean, I think that this movie is built for people like you or people like Lizzie wasn't aware of the Pepsi incident either, and that movie's kind of used to frame the like second to third act like emotional beat that the character goes through to kind of recover triumphantly at the end, right? And frankly, I thought him dealing with recovery and dealing with what he was as a famous person at that time, that was easily the most interesting part of the movie. It's just a shame that everything else is just very by the books, very generic. The movie doesn't try any sort of thematic depth other than Joe Jackson was an asshole, which everyone already knew.
I actually didn't.
Oh, dude, I had
no idea.
Joe Jackson was, honestly, I think the movie did him some favors because, frankly, I think he was more monstrous than what was shown on theaters. Like, the dude was
I want to go back
evil man
to what you were saying though, and say like the whole Pepsi thing. That's such a titular moment for like what's gonna come in this next film though, because like that, from what I understand now later on after seeing the movie, is like that's the beginning of pretty much his downfall in life, is that the drug use and being addicted to the painkillers and was it propofol to fall asleep and stuff like that all started from him being in the hospital there in the burn unit.
Well, and also the cosmetic surgeries that gave him his final slightly more shocking appearance, right? I mean, that was already alluded to with the nose surgery earlier in the movie
talking about the cosmetics, I actually thought it was really interesting because like instead of just straight out saying things in the movie, they obviously his family was a huge part of this movie and they all worked on it. And I noticed that they show little hints of like stuff like that, because if you notice, they keep showing the image of Peter Pan and how he was obsessed with Peter Pan, and they made Peter Pan, the book, the image that you're looking at, appear like Michael did in his later years of his life. So everybody in life was like, oh, Michael's turning into a white woman. No, I think what they're trying to say is Michael Jackson was trying to look like Peter Pan. And that's something that was misconstrued as a child, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think the movie does a very interesting job of kind of towing the line over alluding to what Michael Jackson will eventually become, right? His supporters will say that a lot of his weirdness and odd behavior later in life stems from the fact that his childhood was robbed from him by his father, who was not only physically but also mentally abusive towards him. And Michael Jackson was just trying to, with all the money in the world, try to hold on to and relive some of that childlike wonder that he lost out on. And I completely understand that. Now, if any of the rumors are true and he still sexually abused children, then it's a moot point. Because, yeah. So
no, trust me, I agree that if any of the rumors ever came out to be true, absolutely. I mean, like there's a limit to what we can support artists and stuff like that. But on the flip side, I mean, one of the most known, possibly activists, if you can call it, or just person that's lived through that situation. If you followed anything with Corey Feldman, and the issues that he's been going through, he defends him nonstop.
Yeah, so does Macaulay Culkin.
Big names of people that have been through that exact situation. And I'm not discrediting any kind of survivors or victims in any way. I'm just pointing out that Corey Feldman would be the kind of person that I would expect to be like, no, this was happening.
To play devil's advocate, though, like if you're thinking from Jackson's perspective, abusing a child with that much public persona who could easily speak out and has the ability to get help, isn't a smart move. Like sexual abusers prey on the vulnerable, right? Like generally, right? I'm not saying everyone does, but you know, I'm more inclined. Like once again, it's
we could go in circles about for hours.
It's very true, and like it's hard too because me and you were both born, not to date us here, but early 90s. Yeah. Right? So like the Michael Jackson we grew up with was very much the out there, bizarre, odd dude that may or may not have sexually abused minors. And this movie rather would focus on the Michael Jackson that our parents grew up with, right? The superstar that was probably the closest thing to be viewed as God in the 1980s. The dude who literally with his Beat It video brought the Bloods and Crips together, yeah. Right? Like, so yeah, I mean, it's so interesting when talking about the legacy of this person because just based on when we were born, we very much have a very different outlook and understanding of who Michael Jackson was as a person versus like who our parents did. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're now at the point where it's like when would you go see this movie? I mean, if you're a fan of Michael Jackson, like and you have family members that are fans of Michael Jackson, like the movie is maybe worth the price of a ticket admission. Maybe not full price, but like you'll probably have a good time. I didn't personally love the movie. I still don't think I would give it a positive review, but like I'm objective enough to know that maybe this movie isn't necessarily built for my context and situation here.
I am on the flip side. I gave it a 4 stars already. I say catch it in theaters. Catch it in probably... I enjoyed the Ultra Screen. I like the Dolby Atmos, especially if your theater has Dolby Atmos. It's a great experience to be able to catch it with that. If you catch it at home, that's fine too. It's a fun movie. You have to like Michael Jackson. If you don't like Michael Jackson, you won't like the movie. It won't change your mind on anything. It's not selling anything. The movie knows who it's made for, and it made it for those people.
Yep. It's very much for the fans, and it does not want to challenge the fans' perceived notions.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well,
either way, yeah.
Yeah. So, what did you think of the Michael Jackson movie? Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your closest friends and family, and leave a comment down below for us. We love engagement, and we want to keep growing. So, anything else you have to say?
No, I think that we pretty much settled it. And since you already dated us, and I just want to point out that I am 7 days older than you, so I'm obviously correct. So I win the argument today. And
so Bohemian
Rhapsody is a great movie, and Michael.
So you're throwing out the boomer argument that just because I'm old means I'm correct, huh?
That's how it works.
Okay. All right. Okay, boomer.
All right. We're gonna end it before he can come back with anything. You guys have a great one. We'll see you not next week, but the next week. Because it's my anniversary. Bye, everybody.